We have many occasions for people on this stage to talk about films, often people who make them, very often people who act in them, not so often people who are the subjects of them, seeing their lives being portrayed by other people. We've been in theaters where you've seen your life portrayed in a documentary fashion. This must be very strange. What does it feel like to sit with an audience and see your own experience unfurl on the screen, played by a very handsome young actor?
No, but this is the second time I watched the movie. The first time was last Wednesday in Amazon. But this time was different, because the first time was more about how it was me, because I had my doubts how I would be presented. But today was different. Today was really connecting with what we are doing here at USC. Because for the last 2 years, we're teaching with Ted how movies present stories of war, crime, and justice. And I was doing that because I learned, it's a professor here at USC, Viet Nguyen, who is from Vietnam. He born in Vietnam, he became a refugee here. And he did something that for me was very important when USC invited me to be here as a visiting professor. Viet Nguyen say, you fight your wars twice, first in the battlefield, and then in the memory. And the memory is a real battle. And the movie showed that, yes, I was using my mother as a testimony of, it's not just a fight in court. We need to convince normal people like my mother or people who are against us. And that found the big trials also are fighting in the memory. And this movie is then the battlefield. And that's why today, for me, it's a big celebration to be in USC talking about producers, directors, actors. They are the soldiers of this battle. They are those bringing us these stories, allowing us to sit here. Look, the film is Argentina 1985. We're in Los Angeles in 2022. 200 people who, I don't know, I probably never met most of you, discussing this topic. And just because the producers and the directors and the actors are doing this. So it's a huge opportunity. It's a huge opportunity. So my feeling is, wow, this film about creating a collective space to think about. And not just think about Argentina 1985. For me, it's about the meaning of the law. Because when I am teaching, I know nothing about movies. Ted is the expert, Ted is the professor. We're teaching together here. And I'm learning a lot about how movies are done. And I was always trying to present to the scriptwriters here, the students here, okay, you believe gender or race define your behavior? I like to explain to you how legal system, your legal roles define the behavior. And one example is in Homeland season 4, the head of intelligence in Pakistan and in CIA are 2 women, different races, but both are killers. It's not about race or gender, it's about the role. And so that's my obsession. I was trying to discuss here in USC. Normally, people doing scriptwriting are talking about emotions. And So for me, this opportunity to discuss a movie when I am one of the characters, but also I was involved in some way in the preparation. So for me, wow, it's blowing me my mind because I understand now more about how the interaction between movies, emotions, director's role, actor's role, and the law. And the last point I had to make, and then that's the second question, is no, because when I was watching the movie, I watched Adriana Calvo de la Borde, the witness who had the baby in the car, and she was walking with the police. I was thinking, my God, this woman who had this awful experience with the police was coming to the court escorted by the police. And I saw also some character in the movie did not checking really the person who was suspected to be an intelligence service putting the bomb. And that happened, in fact, because I all remember the commissar, the police officer in charge of the security was allegedly involved in one of the clandestine centers. No one knows exactly if it was true or not, but it was the rumor. And for me, in those days, it was fascinating to see, okay, 5 years ago, this guy was following order of Videla. Today, he's following the order of the judges. No? And the movie reminds me that legal systems are not about judges or prosecutors. Legal systems allow us to live in peace or not. And that's for me the movie about it. The movie is about how, because the same people, the same Argentinians who were killing each other in 1976 were suddenly living in peace in 1985. And the trial was a very peaceful experience to manage the problem. That's why there are so many movies about trial, no? Because trial is the only drama that allows us to be in the same room, the victims and the killers, no? Together, and having a dialogue. And that's why it's a classic drama. But the Junta trial is not just a trial drama, it's an Argentine drama. Mm. And in some way, today I was understanding more the director mind, watching the evolution he made with the Julio Trasera character, moving from an ordinary person to the hero. And what he did is just fulfill his role, no? Just do the legal thing. And that is, for me, the beauty of the movie today, is showing us how we don't need heroes, we need the legal system working. That's what we need. In Argentina, 85, in the world 2022, everywhere. So a legal system helping us to manage our conflicts. That's what the movie is about. So today, that was my reflection. The movie showed me, oh, fuck, is that.
One of the things you mentioned was that you had some little hand in the shaping of this project. Is there anything you can share with us about how you got involved, what kinds of conversations you were part of? Because I think that's an unusual perspective on a finished film for audiences to have a chance to hear about.
This started 4 years ago. There were two different producers coming to see me saying they would do a movie on the Junta trial at the same time. And one of them abandoned, the other one keep going. And I lost them, but then last year, the Junta trial, the Santiago Mitre director approached me again saying they are doing, and they have to show me the script. So I had a chance to see the script before and make some observations. And today I saw the movie. And I see now more clearly the role of the director and the scriptwriter. Because this movie, if you like to tell the story of Argentina in the transition to democracy and the end of the dictatorship, you can tell the story of the trial itself. You can The movie could be about the witness, the victims, the judges, the political level, the mother of Plaza de Mayo, the defendants. And so the director chose the angles, the prosecutors, and in particular he chose to show the evolution of Trasera from a moment on where he was just normal to be a hero. And that's the big story he's telling us. But in the middle, he put the real stories, like okay, my mother was not like my mother here, but my mother was, in fact, my mother, when she called me, she says it much nicer. She said, I still love General Videla, but you're right, he had to go to jail. I think that was a great line. But my
She
uncle,
said that. She said that.
She said that in real life, yes. That's the problem. Now, my real life is irrelevant now. Because the real thing now is what you saw in the movie. Now that will be the real life. That's the power you have here in the sea. You can define whatever you want. That's why I'm here. I want to convince you, okay? So the other problem is, yes, I never told Estracera something about his role during the dictatorship. I never said that, and I don't think he did something wrong. But the movie put that, and that's it. Now I'm dead on that. But the movie is funny because you say at the beginning how I feel. It's a very strange for me to see, because I was in some documentaries and I saw myself, okay. But here it's different because it's like a different dimension. It's someone else, Moreno Campo, it's someone else doing, and the story is not exactly real life, but it's similar to real life. So it's a very strange situation. But yeah.
The film opens with words that we're all familiar with, inspired by, which gives us, the audience,
yes,
a little latitude and gives the filmmakers a huge amount of latitude.
Yes.
One of the things that you shared with me had to do with the opening and Stracera and his family. You had said he's really defined by fulfilling his role in the course of the film. But he's also defined by a guy whose attitude towards his family, his relationship with his son and daughter, his marriage, all of that changes during the course of the film. Share with the audience, if you will, what you did with me about the opening of the film.
No, I hate the opening. I tried to convince. No, that's why I understand the role of the director, because I tried to convince many times to the director that please don't do this. Don't put Estracera in such a stupid way. He never followed the daughter. The daughter never dated the intelligence service. You're inventing a story which is irrelevant. I understand now why he did it, but yes. So Estracera is not that bad. It's funny because when I now see the movie, I see also different pieces. Inside the movie there are different pieces. For instance, I just read this Sunday, it's a very good interview to Ricardo Darín, the actor. And in fact, when you read the interview, you understand Estracera's son is basically Ricardo Darín. It's his, because he explained in the interview that his father was his friend, and he became a kid with an adult mentality. And of course, the Estracera story is not like the Estracera story in the movie. It's more like a Darín idea of how is a child with a very adult mentality. No, even the guy intervening in the final argument everywhere. Yeah. So that's why. But it's fascinating to see. Now I can see how the director put together different ideas, including some of mine, but not others. He absorbed it. It's funny how he absorbed the legal thing and rejected in some ways, but also I see the importance that he include conflicts and some drama and jokes and all this stuff. I understand more how well he did it. So we had to do a new seminar on this. We had to do a seminar focused on this movie and invited because now I can understand more the interaction between not just the real life and the movies, also the directors and the legal thing and how they are mixing.
You had mentioned one of the things you appreciated as you were watching the film was how, from a sort of ensemble approach or many different points of view, they chose to focus on the prosecutors and the drama that they were under. Was there anything, aside from your own familiarity with the experience of these characters, was there anything that you think that brought to the film and the way it presents the conflict that'll register with audiences?
Well, I talked to the director, and he told me that at the beginning they were trying to do an ensemble movie, and the producer said no. Is the prosecutor, older, senior, and the young? That is Batman and Robin. That is the concept. Yeah. And then he liked it, and I also like it, the idea of the young people. And these young people, it's true, that's a real story, because The Guardian, it's funny, The Guardian make a criticism of the movie saying everything is fine, except, come on, this group of kids cannot do the investigation. I'm sorry, the group of kids did the investigation. The older was 27, the younger, and there were 220. So the group of kids did the investigation. I think that is, for me, another interesting, there are two main ideas. One idea is, this is the triumph of the moderate people, the law. And second idea is the young generation making the trial. No, the young generation made the trial, and they did it. And in fact, we had dinner 2 weeks ago in Buenos Aires, and now they're old. Now it's like 60 now. And they say, "Oh my God!" They think it was like what we did was crazy. So they cannot believe what we did, because it's true. In 4 months, we conduct investigation. Not in the way he presented, sending the girl to this part. No, but I like it. The scene where, but what it was real. In different little desks, there were people talking to our
telling their
so basically
stories.
That is for me the movie very interesting. The movie show how the victims made the trial. The heroes here are the heroes in 1985 were the victims, those who came and testify. Yeah. And not just I don't know if there were so many threats against them, but it was very difficult for them to talk. No, yeah. Pablo Diaz, the guy who would talk about the girl who was saying I was raped, and watch me. When he told us the story, he said, "No one knows my story. I cannot go to a trial because I don't like people knowing what happened to me." And then he had to think about, talk to his family, and then he decided to come. And when he finished, after he said what he said, and the movie showed, we're out, and he hugged me and said, "I was waiting 9 years to say that." And that's why the movie, I think the movie showed that, the moment in which everyone faced the ghost. The country faced the ghost. It ghost.
Yeah. It's so interesting to hear you talk about these two dimensions in particular. One, the excitement that you felt leading this team of young people, and the confidence you had that they would do it, and that you gained by having them do it. And I having taught with you, you carry that respect for youth and energy and innovation into the classroom, and I think your students and the people who work with you feel that. And having seen the film, and I knew this, but having seen the film, you really can understand that in a way. It's very powerful. And the other is, of course, what it is to hear the testimony of victims. We've talked about that before in our own work. I wanted to share a story with the audience you had suggested. When I first met Luis 16 years ago.
We met when we were not in Argentina. We met in The Hague.
Yeah.
When because in 2003 they appointed me chief prosecutor of the International Criminal Court at The Hague, like a permanent international criminal court. Then we met.
I had read about what you'd done in Argentina, but I was there to talk to you about the crisis in Darfur and see if you and the court or the prosecutor's office would cooperate with the film. And you said no. The timing wasn't good. We didn't need publicity, but I think because I had traveled all the way from the U.S., you felt some sympathy for this guy sitting across the table from you, and so you shared with me this essay that you had read that you liked a lot by a historian and philosopher who teaches at UCLA, Carlos Ginzburg, called "To Kill a Chinese Mandarin," which was about the relationship between moral responsibility and time and distance.
Yeah.
And I was desperate. You had just said no. And I was trying to get out of this hole that I was in. And I said, but Mr. Prosecutor, that's what cinema does. It shrinks space and time so that audiences can understand the relationship between moral responsibility and what they're seeing. And you got this twinkle in your eye, and you said, okay, if you can come up with a way to tell a story about a prosecutor that doesn't involve the investigation he's doing, I'll let you do something. Come see me tomorrow. So I went back to the hotel and stayed up all night and thought, I have to come up with something, and I came back with an idea and you agreed, and that's how we ended up making Darfur Now together. But
I see we are discussing the same issue for the last 16 years. But it's interesting, it's Argentina 1985, we are discussing LA 2022, so distance in time are shrunk by the movies.
Thinking of that, I was wondering, why are these films important? Why are films like Argentina 1985 so important?
I think first, the new generation, this happened 37 years ago, so the young people had no idea. And that's why I love the film producer and the director are in the 50s, in the 40s, so some of them here, but they were very young. And the 20, my youngest son had no idea. So I think it's so important to cross time and reach the youngest people, you know. And also, I think it's important the space, because Argentina 1985 is still valid for the world 2022, because we had a global legal system. That's why we have war in Ukraine, in Armenia. There's an invasion in Armenia, no one talk about that. Even we don't talk about that. It's not in the media. So we need a global legal system, but it's complicated because we are, you know how many years took to build the national state legal system? 22 centuries. So there was a legal system in Athens, 5 centuries before Jesus Christ, and then it took 22 centuries to move from a city legal system to a national state legal system. Now the challenge is to do something bigger, to face climate change, to face pandemic and terrorism and war. But we don't know how to do that. And that's why I'm here. We need to, that is for me the invitation for these people here. How we can use USC to work on that, to prepare a dialogue on that, you know, to help not just to understand this and see the connection between this movie and Munich. Because Argentina 1985 is a movie about how the state treats insurgencies. Munich, Spielberg film, is a film about how the Mossad decided to kill with no trial the Palestinians who were involved in the attack in Munich Olympic. And you have a Homeland where you see the Carly Matheson just keep using drones to kill people. So it's still an issue that we should debate. And I feel, I saw Harvard is not doing that. I spent 6 years at Harvard and is not planning global legal system. Lawyers are still national, and that's why I came here. We need, Hollywood is not global, so we need to disseminate these ideas. The idea that you have the right to be in silence when the police arrest you is global, not because Harvard, because Hollywood. So that's I don't know how long will be this, but my invitation for you is we have to think how we can keep this dialogue to transform this conversation into something bigger and deeper, not just in the creating new movies, presenting the problems, also expanding to other schools to transform how we are managing violence in the world today.
You're in the right place.
Yeah. We are.
Questions?
Oh, it's